the Super Scope. Or in my power region, the Nintendo Scop. Yeah, it doesn't sound quite the same, does it? So let's just go with Super Scope. The Super Scope, released in 1992, packed in with 6 action-packed games. Action-packed? All of them? I don't know about that, so let's get into this to see exactly what's what on this cartridge that they gave you with this bazooka-looking Super Scope. As you fire away and blast away at whatever comes at you on screen. Which is what you're supposed to do with this, right? It's a Super Scope. Alright, let's click the trigger button and get this all fired up. Like I am. One of the best games on this game simply is Mole Patrol, where it's exactly as it sounds. The moles come up, alien type moles, and then you blast the moles away. I gotta say that this was the one that really grabbed my attention back in the day. Because, you know, it's like whack-a-mole, but with a bazooka. As long as you have the 6 AA batteries to keep it running, of course. Because it's wireless. The only thing that's connected to a wire is the receiver. The light gun itself is actually called the transmitter. You transmit to the receiver. As you move around, it detects exactly where you are on screen. And these galactic moles are trying to get away, but they're not going to go too far because I can see where they're going. Into the background, of course, because I've got my transmitter to my receiver looking for where you are on the pixelated CRT screen. I mean, it's sort of fun. It's a little bit slow. It's not an instant classic though. Well, certainly not compared to what come before. That's for sure. Everybody sees Duck Hunt as classic. I do too. I much prefer to play Duck Hunt than some of these games on here. Actually, all of them. And that's the problem. They really should have had Duck Hunt as a remake on this. Why they didn't think of that in the first place, I don't know. But here we are playing a game that looks fun, but at the same time it feels like they should be more fun than they actually look. And to me, that's a bit backwards. And I like thinking backwards, but not like this. You gotta think forward thinking with this backwards thinking talk. I do like it, but I'm not going back to it a lot. I will say that I'm going back to Duck Hunt a lot. So you want this, do you? Well, it's all mine. Yeah.
Hey! It's my cartridge.
Oh yeah, here you go. No! You stay right where you are.
Miss me? Is that your best shot?
You better watch it, pal. So also on this cartridge you have 3 similar games that are in the Laser Blazer section. The first of which is called Intercept. We have to try to intercept them before they go off the screen, which is the whole intercept part of the game. And like most things in this game, the missiles come out slow. You gotta aim it up properly with your eye, making sure you've got it locked in and locked on to where you want to shoot. You have to predict where they're going to go, because as you shoot, it's not instantaneous explosions, no. You have to wait and time it right before the missiles get there, so you have to place them in each spot on the screen as you intercept each missile to clear the levels and engage in your next battle. You can't miss it because it's right there, coming right at you. This time again I have to shoot down slow moving enemies with my slow moving projectiles. And once again, we'll have to shoot back at them with this delayed timing. It's annoying. And the third game in this trilogy is Defending the Earth, as you have to confront some alien invaders as they try to take over the world. Well, I assume that's what they're trying to do, otherwise why would I be shooting back at them? Because they're shooting at me, and I'm not going to stand for it. Not when I got a bazooka in my hand. I hope that alien hardware can really match my own hardware that I got in my hand here. Hands, if I use both hands. I only have to use one hand. That's how good I am. So watch out. Don't come flying down here thinking that you can just take over. Besides, your movements won't be able to get past this transmitter as I send a message to the receiver. It knows where you are on screen. It sees your pixels as they come crashing down to the ground. If you don't like it, then don't press the start button. Don't start me off because I'm gonna finish this and give you a big game over screen on your end, not on mine. because this is a bazooka. And what else do you do with bazookas? You shoot things down, and this is part of the game where you shoot the things down that are on screen for you to shoot. Part of the game, part of the experience. That's what we're here for. That's what I got the bazooka on my shoulder for. Which reminds me, I better recharge because this big bulky super scope does get a little bit tiring. Yeah, it's not built for everybody, that's for sure. Especially if you're over 40. Well, I'm all done here. Time to go. I will say that the biggest problem about the super scope is actually that you gotta put it on your shoulder, which does become a pain. I want to play you more, not like, oh, give me a rest with this, please, my arm is a bit sore now. And I can go a long time with playing something, but for whatever reason, I think because it's a lot bigger than the Nest Zapper, that makes a big difference. But is it bigger and better than the Zapper that's smaller? I think the Zapper is better designed because you've got the cord so you can play it as long as you want, and it's lighter. It's a light gun. Sure, the Super Scope is not heavy. It is a light gun, but it's heavier than the Zapper light gun. And how well does this thing aim? It's actually pretty accurate, I've got to say. I've been playing this for a little while. I really did think when I was coming back to it after all these years, but it wasn't going to play out too well. But I was wrong. It actually is pretty good. Sometimes it did get a blind spot, you're pushing it down and it wasn't shooting, which was annoying. I thought the batteries weren't going to last too long, but they actually did last a good amount of time. It's still annoying to have batteries, to be fair. I wish we had the option. I guess they had to go one or the other. If I had to choose now, if they could, I would actually prefer it to be wired still. Just give us an extra long cord. Because batteries, 6 of them, as long as they were lasting, I don't see them lasting for too long really. And what if you're in the middle of a game and it just stops? You know, that would be annoying. And I assume, for myself, when I played this when I was a kid, it was annoying and it would have happened to me. I just can't remember. You know, this brain, it just keeps on turning. All the information gets processed and it gets lost in there somewhere. But I'm pulling it out now to tell you about it. From what I remember from what was left up there in the first place. Yeah, I still remember having fun with it. It wasn't my favourite device, of course. You know, I had other better games to play. And unfortunately, Blastous A, which is also on this cartridge, is not one of those games that I was talking about. It's just a very boring version of Tetris. I love Tetris, I really do. But do I want to play Tetris with a bazooka? I'm not really sure that I do. This is the worst of the worst, and it looks confusing because it is confusing, and the accuracy is no longer there. It's just gone. And I really do think this game is going to put me to sleep. Except there's one more Blastous to play. Yes, where there's Blastous A is Blastous B. Not the best the cartridge has to offer. And to be honest, 4 out of these were pretty fun. Tedious, yes, they did get a bit samey. You were shooting things. It's a bazooka. That's what you're supposed to do. It's a light gun game. It's a light gun peripheral. The Super Scope bazooka was made for shooting down rockets and spaceships. But using it to shoot Tetris blocks? Not really puzzle making type material, is it? When you think about it, are you really supposed to be thinking about what we're going to be doing with this bazooka as we got it in our hand, as we're here to be action packed? Let's get these Tetris blocks and put them into place as they hit the wall so we can erase them from history. I mean, overall the games were okay, but it just wasn't what I was really looking for. Sure, we got some highlights on there, no doubt. I was just looking for a little more. Something with a little bit more of a battle clash. As it's now time to move on. To play a new cartridge, more well equipped for what the Super Scope really should have to offer. And luckily, I don't have to look too far to find one. Are you ready for this? I was born ready. I have to now take matters into my own hands. It's time to reload and start again. I'm ready for action. And we're not going to get it from Blastous, that's for damn sure. These robots are going to be a much bigger challenge, and they have the speed as I sit here going from left to right on the edge of my seat. I can feel the heat vibrations as you move. I'm tracking you. You can duck and you can dive. You can run, but you cannot hide. As I put my gun down by my side, I don't even need you in my sights because I've got my own 2 eyes. I can now blast away with the way the game was designed. And after all this time, I'm well refined, with enough artillery to capture all your movements that you throw at me on screen. And I hope it's got enough battery power to show you exactly what I mean. Because this is what I was looking for. I found you. And try as you may, I will not be turning away. I'm made of sterner stuff. I'm not afraid of your robot technology. I've got the Super Scope, and it's coming for ya. So don't even try to get me and take me down, because I'm not messing around. As I now set this to turbo, shooting at the screen with my full force, without any type of remorse, as I take each one down as they appear in front of me. That's it. You got this. These robots, they just really can't escape my line of sight. And now it's time for them to pay the price, as they tried to run, but they could not hide. But in the end, they couldn't get past my own eyes. And luckily for me, they just weren't too bright. Well, that was exciting, wasn't it? I did get a little bit carried away with it, but you know what? You're supposed to get carried away. You're supposed to get involved in the action. I hope now I've lived up to the Super Scope Bazooka name that I should have been in the first place. And I hope I've now made a bigger impact for someone else who wants to give it a go. Because believe me, if you look, you can find something well worth your time to play on a Super Scope.
Hey Dad, you wanna play too? What?
Oh, hell yeah. So, I just control Yoshi with the control pad.
Yep. This is fun, isn't it?
Yes, yes. This is very fun. You know, this is not what I had in mind. McDonald Productions. This is what you get with McDonald Productions. Every time. Because normal is just too boring.